Discover the incredible moment a black kitchen helper revealed hidden wisdom to a billionaire CEO. In the heart of downtown Chicago, there was a bustling upscale restaurant where the air buzzed with ambition, creativity, and the sizzle of gourmet dishes. Among the whirlwind of chefs and servers, Janelle, a 32-year-old African-American kitchen helper, shined brighter than the polished copper pans that adorned the walls. Every day, she poured her heart into her work, aware that her efforts fed not just diners, but her family back on the South Side too. Her mother had worked tirelessly to instill the values of hard work, resilience, and the importance of community in Janelle. Her unwavering spirit inspired everyone around her, a steady light in the chaos, but there was a cloud hanging over Janelle. Financial worries loomed consistently in the back of her mind. The weight of her family's needs, combined with her aspirations for a better life, pressed down on her during those long, exhausting hours. Yet, she wore her positivity like a badge, lifting her coworkers' spirits when exhaustion threatened to sink them. "We gotta dream big, why all," she'd shout, reminding them that strength comes from unity. On a crisp autumn day, the usual busy hum of the kitchen was electrified with anticipation. Mark, a high-profile billionaire CEO, was scheduled for a meeting, and the air crackled with excitement and nerves. Staff hustled to perfect every detail, but Janelle remained calm, deftly chopping vegetables in her corner, focused on the rhythm of her work. When Mark stepped through the kitchen doors in his designer suit, the atmosphere shifted. His polished demeanor felt like a galaxy away from Janelle's bustling world of pots and pans, and then it happened. Chaos swallowed the kitchen as a spectacular dish crashed to the ground, a beautiful creation reduced to mere remnants of flavor and color. Mark, momentarily stripped of his composed facade, looked lost among the shuffle of frantic cooks. Janelle didn't think, she acted. With quick feet and a steady head, she sprang into action, helping salvage what she could as the kitchen held its breath. "Sometimes, things fall apart," she said, her hands working diligently. "But it's how we piece it back together that matters." Astonished, Mark paused, the chaos fading into a hush. Janelle's voice was authentic, laced with her experiences. "Resilience is the quiet strength that gets us through." Her words hung in the air, shimmering like the flickers of flame in the kitchen. In that instant, a connection formed, two worlds briefly intertwining in fragility and strength. Mark's eyes grew reflective, grappling with the weight of her insights, a revelation that cut through his bubble of privilege. This kitchen was a vibrant tapestry woven with hopes and dreams, each person adding value in their own right. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the kitchen quieted down, a heavy silence enveloped them, one ripe with unspoken dreams and longings for recognition. Janelle's heart raced with the hope that perhaps, just perhaps, her perspective could spark change beyond the kitchen walls. Yet as they exchanged lingering glances before parting ways, each carried a sense of urgency, a question marked in the air. Could this encounter transform their lives, or would it simply remain a fleeting moment lost in the whirlwind of their realities? Janelle wiped the sweat from her brow, the heat of the kitchen mixing with the intensity of the moment she had just experienced. Her heart thudded in her chest as she returned to her work, but her mind was elsewhere, a whirlwind of thoughts tangled with the image of Mark's contemplative face. What would happen next? Would he understand the depth of her words? Would he see her, not just as a kitchen helper but as a part of something greater? The kitchen buzzed back to life, the air heavy with the scent of spices and grilled meat. But Janelle felt an unfamiliar space open up, possibilities hovering like the steam escaping the pots. She glanced over to Mark, who was now deep in conversation with the head chef, gesturing emphatically, the weight of decisions clinging to him like the fragrant garlic on her hands. With each passing hour, Janelle poured her energy into every task, from unloading crates of fresh produce to meticulously plating dishes for the evening customers. Yet her thoughts drifted back to that one moment. The way Mark had paused, the flicker of understanding in his eyes, it was a glimmer of hope in her already daunting world. As the dinner rush approached, the kitchen started to thrum with adrenaline. Orders flew in like birds taking flight, each one a reminder of the stakes involved. Janelle could see the tension in her co-workers' faces, as they juggled pots and pans amidst the chaos. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of the power that a few encouraging words could hold. "We got this, family." "Just like we always do," she called out, igniting a spark in the room. Laughter erupted, chaos momentarily sidestepping the seriousness of their tasks. And as she prepared the next batch of garlic butter for the grilled fish, an unexpected sound of squeaking shoes caught her attention. It was Mark, approaching Janelle with a tentative smile. "Can we talk?" he asked, an unusual earnestness in his tone. Janelle's heart raced again. What could he possibly want to discuss? She nodded, leading him to a quieter corner of the kitchen where the hustle and bustle faded into hushed tones. "Your words earlier, they struck me," he admitted, leaning against the stainless steel countertop. "The way you spoke about resilience, it's something I've lost sight of in my world of profit and loss." A flicker of hope ignited in Janelle. She couldn't hold back. "We face it every day, you know. My family, my community, we fight for each meal, each opportunity." Mark's brow furrowed, drawing her in. "What if we did something about it? Something bigger than just talk?" Her breath hitched. Did he really mean it? Like what? She asked carefully, not wanting to grasp a dream that could unravel. "I want to create a mentorship program. Young kids need to see that they can rise above their circumstances just like you've shown me today." Janelle's heart swelled. This was more than a fleeting moment. This was an opportunity to turn her struggles into a framework for others to follow. But a shadow loomed in her mind. What if he backed out? What if this was just a passing thought? "Are you sure, Mark? This could be a lot of work." "I'm ready for it, Janelle. I wish I had someone like you to guide me when I was younger." His resolve sparkled like the morning sun through the kitchen windows. They locked eyes, the connection deepening into something extraordinary, something that could change lives. But the weight of the unknown pressed upon her. She needed to seize this moment, yet could she really take on such a monumental task? Standing there, Janelle realized that life was full of risks, just like the ingredients she mixed each day. "All right, let us do it," she said, a smile breaking through her hesitations. But as excitement swirled around them, a muffled alarm rang through the restaurant, turning the energy electric. The kitchen poured into chaos again. The moment of clarity vanished, and they were left teetering on the edge of possibility. "Stay focused," Janelle shouted, urgency rising. But her heart was racing for another reason now. Would they truly embark on this journey together, or would the chaos of their lives sweep them both away? The questions hung in the air, full of promise and uncertainty. The alarm continued to pierce through the clamor of the kitchen, amplifying the tension that coursed through Janelle's veins. Swathed in a rush of adrenaline, everyone moved in a flurry, each person responding to the urgent calls and the potential crisis that loomed overhead. Dishes needed to be served, but the fire of possibility that had bloomed only moments before threatened to be extinguished under the weight of the chaos. Janelle returned to her station, yet her mind danced with anxiety and anticipation. Could they really turn that spark into something lasting? The questions battered against her thoughts like the pots clanging in the background. She began to chop vegetables swiftly, her hands working automatically even as her heart raced at the thought of mentorship. Janelle. It was Kiki, one of her co-workers, frantically waving her over. "We're over capacity. The steak orders are piling up. We need more hands on deck." "On it," Janelle replied, diving into her role without hesitation, squeezing her excitement in and letting her instincts take the lead. As she sautéed the steaks, the sizzle seemed to echo her internal struggle. Mark's mention of creating a program for mentorship flickered at the edges of her confrontation with reality. They needed the initiative now more than ever, not just for their own aspirations, but for the young people out there who might feel trapped like she once did. Fueled by her thoughts, Janelle moved like a whirlwind through the kitchen, organizing the seemingly insurmountable chaos. With each plate completed, a sense of urgency fueled her. Each steak sizzling brought her closer to a truth she hadn't quite grasped until now, the importance of connectivity and leading by example, for both herself and those in her community. In the midst of the commotion, she stole a glance over at Mark. He was in the thick of the chaos too, orchestrating the staff, his eyes alight with determination. He had transformed before her very eyes from a distant CEO into a partner navigating the storms of their shared goals. She felt a strange exhilaration. If they could work together in this environment, maybe they could create something powerful outside the kitchen too. As the dinner rush began to slowly calm, laughter and camaraderie echoed around them. The initial chaos had morphed into an unexpected teamwork that united them all. Janelle found herself smiling, the camaraderie fueling her belief in what was to come. After 2 long hours, the kitchen finally exhaled, the rhythm slowing at last. Mark came to her side, both of them leaning against the counter, still breathless. "We did it," he said, a triumphant grin breaking through his tired expression. "Yeah, but it's just the start," Janelle replied, feeling the unease rear its head again. "We need to be ready to put that mentorship idea into motion. It won't be easy. I know it won't. But I believe in it and you," Mark said, the weight of his sincerity wrapping around her like a warm embrace. "Let us gather our thoughts tomorrow. With the right plans, I think we can really reach kids and change lives." Janelle nodded, swallowing a lump of hope that had formed in her throat. "Okay, I'm in. But we have to stay focused. This isn't just a casual project, it's a promise." "Right," he replied, his voice steady. "It'll take work, and I need you to help map out not just the physical, but the emotional framework. Your connection to the community is vital." Their eyes met, and in that moment, Janelle felt the threads of fate weaving tighter around them, her doubt subsiding as new visions of impact and purpose surged forward. Yet beneath that spark of determination, a nagging fear haunted her. Was she truly equipped for this monumental task? What if their passions collided in ways that would leave everything they worked for in shambles? Janelle took a deep breath, allowing her hope to linger amidst the uncertainty. They had a chance. Could she harness it before it slipped away? As she looked back to Mark, their silent promise hanging between them, she knew this was just the beginning. But in the calm that followed, a new alarm blared. This time, it came from Mark's phone. His face paled as he read the notification. "I have to take this," he whispered, suddenly distant. With urgency coursing back into the kitchen, Janelle felt time stand still. What did the message hold? Was it about their project, or something entirely out of their control? Janelle's heart raced as Mark stepped away, his face suddenly shadowed with a mix of worry and urgency. The noise of the kitchen faded into a dull roar, every sizzling pan and shout from coworkers dissolving into an indistinct background hum. She watched him, feeling a mix of concern and curiosity bubble in her chest. "Mark, wait!" she called, but he was already at the back door, his eyes glued to his phone. What could be so pressing at this hour, especially after everything they had just accomplished together? An uneasy knot tightened in her stomach. She pushed against the counter, her mind racing. What if the text was about their mentorship plans? What if it was something far worse? After a few moments, though it felt like an eternity, Mark returned, pinching the bridge of his nose as he tried to gather his thoughts. He approached her, the tension palpable. "It's about our investors," he said, his voice low and threaded with concern. "There's been an incident at the main office. They want me there now." "An incident?" Janelle's brow furrowed. "What happened?" Mark hesitated. A flicker of vulnerability crossed his face. "A data breach. Sensitive information was compromised. They're worried this might cause a domino effect, impacting our upcoming projects. Sudden dread swept through Janelle like ice water. All of their plans, all the hope she'd held onto the mentorship, the change they wanted to create now hung by a thread. Do they think it will affect us? He took a deep breath, concern etched into his features. They don't explicitly say, but... He trailed off, his expression hardening. If we lose trust from our partners, everything could fall apart. I can't risk it. For a moment, silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken fears. Janelle's mind began to race. What could she do? How could she help ensure that their dream didn't evaporate into thin air? Mark pulled her closer, the urgency in his eyes igniting something primal within her. I'm sorry, but I have to prioritize this right now. I know we said we'd meet about the mentorship tomorrow, but no. Janelle interjected, her voice rising. We can't let this derail us. We've worked too hard. If those kids are counting on us, if we're going to make a difference, then we need to keep this fire alive. Mark looked at her, surprise flickering in his gaze. You're right. But how do we do it with everything crumbling around us? Janelle felt her heart swell with determination. We'll keep the lines of communication open. Coordinate with the team, keep them motivated. I can handle everything here while you deal with that. We just need a strong plan. Build on our momentum instead of letting it dissipate. His eyes searched hers, weighing her words. Time seemed to hang in the air, the world outside buzzing with uncertainty. But within that moment, amidst chaos, a bond fortified between them. Okay, he said, a newfound clarity in his voice. We'll do it your way. I'll give you updates, any information I get. Janelle nodded, feeling a rush of adrenaline mixed with fear but also hope. We can make this work, Mark. Together. Just promise you'll be safe. I will, he replied softly, an unbreakable thread of trust tying them together there and then. With that promise hanging in the air, Mark stepped away. But instead of fear, a spark of fierce determination ignited within Janelle. She turned back to the kitchen, her hands moving instinctively, slicing through ingredients with renewed purpose. Though uncertainty loomed, she welcomed it like an old friend. They were at a crossroads, a moment to define not just their project, but their legacy. And as the kitchen buzzed around her, a thought burrowed firmly into her mind: they were not just fighting for their dreams anymore. They were fighting for every potential chef, every child aspiring for something greater. Could they really rise to the challenge? Would they be able to transform not just lives, but an entire community? As the evening passed, the alarm bells of reality rang louder, but so too did a sense of possibility. Janelle took a deep breath, feeling the urgency swell within her. The future awaited. What was she willing to sacrifice to ensure it? Janelle worked tirelessly, her hands flying as she diced vegetables and prepped sauces. The rhythm of the kitchen steadied her racing heart. She could feel the urgency in every flick of her wrist, every chop of the knife. She wasn't just cooking, she was fighting against the tide of uncertainty, rising and crashing around her like stubborn waves. Janelle, need you in the dining area. A voice broke through her concentration. It was Quincy, the floor manager. He had his apron on, but the worry etched on his face told her this was more than just routine dinner service chatter. What is going on? She asked, already moving towards him. A table down. The investors are in the house and they're anxious. Mark's not here, and they want answers. Quincy's brow furrowed deeper at the prospect of facing them alone. I can handle it, she surprised herself by saying. The words soared out before she could filter them back. Are you sure? You don't need to know. I need to do this. I can bring them up to speed on the mentorship, on our vision. If they see how excited we are, maybe it'll ease their minds. Quincy nodded, albeit hesitantly. All right. But if you need anything, I'll signal. She flashed him a quick smile, trying to mask her own rising anxiety. As she moved towards the dining area, Janelle felt the pressure of not just her role, but the weight of their collective dream pressing down on her. This was about more than just tonight's service, it was about every single kid looking up to them. The investors were gathered around a long table, their expressions a medley of skepticism and impatience. As she approached, she could sense the tension in the air, almost like an electric current. They looked up, surprise flickering through their ranks. "Hi, everyone," Janelle began, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm Janelle. I know you were expecting Mark, but I assure you, we are in good hands." There was a slight quaver in her words, but she forged on. "What's happening with the breach?" One of the older men shot back, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "We're still gathering all the details on that," she explained, "but I want to focus on why we're here in the first place. We're building a program that will change lives. Our mentorship will empower kids, teach them culinary skills, help them find their footing." As she spoke, she saw shifts in their demeanor, a flicker of interest, a smattering of nods. She drew strength from their subtle reactions. "Just last week, we had a student cook with locally sourced ingredients. He was so proud. That passion, it ignites a fire. That's what this program is about. But what can you realistically achieve under these conditions?" The voice cut through the room again, draped in doubt. Janelle hesitated, searching for clarity. "Sometimes it takes one cook's fire to ignite a kitchen. We've come too far to let this setback deter us. We believe in the potential of every aspiring chef. Just like we believe the community deserves this chance." There was an iridescent moment, where the world outside momentarily faded away. She saw glimmers of contemplation flicker across their measured expressions. Uncertainty seemed to wane, replaced by curiosity. "I like that," said a woman with sharp features, her voice softer now. "We could use more voices that see potential." Just then, a flurry of footsteps echoed behind her. Quincy and a couple of other team members rushed in, a mix of apprehension etched on their faces. Janelle's heart dropped slightly, but she pressed on. She needed to keep the momentum. "We are adapting. We are resilient. And I promise you, we will come out stronger than before." As she wrapped up her pitch, Janelle's eyes darted nervously around the table, awaiting their response. Their expressions had transformed from skeptical to somewhat intrigued. Then, an unexpected voice chimed in, a kitchen helper, typically hidden in the backdrop, now standing tall. "You know," he said, a surprising calmness in his tone, "I've seen these kids light up. They have dreams that go beyond just cooking. If we take this seriously, the food we create is only the beginning." The room fell silent as his words sank in a moment of powerful clarity. Janelle locked eyes with him, a shared understanding sparking between them. Could it be that the very heart of their mission was beginning to resonate? As they exchanged glances, she felt the atmosphere shift again, hope mingled with the concrete reality they faced. Janelle realized she was no longer just a chef, she was a beacon for their collective dreams. What if it's not just about the mentorship, but about fostering a community of resilience in the kitchen? She mused aloud. Would this be the turning point they needed? Would they find a way to weave their futures together, despite the lurking shadows of uncertainty? The question hung in the air, thick and ripe with possibility. Janelle stood frozen in the wake of the kitchen helper's unexpected proclamation. His words felt like anchors amidst the chaos swirling inside her. The silence lingered too long, stretching her nerves thin, but the investors were now leaning in, their interest piqued. She caught the eye of the sharp-featured woman again, her gaze still assessing, still curious. The young kitchen worker shifted uncomfortably under their scrutiny, a faint blush creeping over his cheeks. What I mean is, well, when we share our stories, it changes everything. You start seeing the food differently. It becomes personal." His voice wavered slightly, but he stood his ground. Janelle felt a surge of admiration for him. "That's powerful," one of the investors said, prompting Janelle to seize the momentum. Yes. Exactly. Every dish we create carries the weight of someone's journey, Janelle added, her confidence swelling. Food has this incredible way of uniting us. We're not just cooking, we're telling stories, sharing cultures, and building a community. The older man who had first challenged her rubbed his chin thoughtfully. So every meal can be an opportunity? Absolutely, she replied, the spark in her heart igniting further. This isn't just a training program. This is about nurturing hope, dreams, and a future where these kids can see themselves as more than what they've been told they're capable of. A slow nod began to ripple through the investors, and she noticed a flicker of something new in their eyes. Appreciation? Acceptance? Where do we start? Asked the woman, a slight smile forming on her lips. Janelle couldn't believe it. This was the turning point she had craved. We start by collaborating. We visualize the mentorship, not just as a cooking class, but as a platform for transforming lives. Let us invest in this community, in these kids. A murmur of agreement quivered across the table. After one last glance at the kitchen helper, who was now beaming with pride, Janelle's heart swelled. They were building something real here, something powerful. But as the conversation blossomed, her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. Pushing aside a growing sense of unease, she discreetly glanced at the screen. Mark's name flashed brightly. Breath catching in her throat, she hesitated. A part of her wanted to ignore it, yet another nagging feeling urged her to answer. Excuse me a moment, she said, stepping away from the table, her pulse racing. Janelle? Mark's voice crackled over the line, anxiety lacing his tone. I need you to listen closely. There's been a development, a concerning one. Panic flickered in her chest. What do you mean? What has happened? I can't explain now, I'll meet you soon. There was urgency in his voice, an edge that sent a cold wave of worry washing over her. As she ended the call, she turned back to the table, battling the storm brewing within. Their mission had shifted from merely survival to thriving. It felt tangible now. But the anxiety that had just gripped her heart deepened, mingling with the lingering hope of the conversation they had just begun. Quincy caught her eye, eyebrows raised, sensing her turmoil. Janelle shook her head, her thoughts conflicting. We're not done here yet, she mouthed. They needed to finish this, but Mark's voice echoed in her mind, a persistent reminder of the challenges lurking just out of sight. Would they be able to face whatever storm was coming their way together? As she looked at the investors once again, ready to dive deeper into their plans, a single thought pierced through the chaos in her heart. What if this discovery was about more than just food? What if it was about figuring out how to stand tall against everything that threatened to take it all away? The weight of her decision loomed large as she prepared to dive back into the conversation, knowing that the real challenge might still be ahead. Janelle took a deep breath and returned to the table, forcing a smile as she glanced at the investors. Their curiosity was palpable. All right, let's talk specifics, she said, rallying her thoughts like a captain steering a ship through a storm. The sharp-featured woman nodded. I want to hear how this works. Janelle leaned forward, enthusiasm bubbling up. We envision a program that brings these kids together, something like a community kitchen. They'll learn not just culinary skills, but also teamwork and the importance of sharing their stories. They'll be mentors for each other, learning from their challenges and triumphs. The younger investor, a man with tousled hair and an open expression, chimed in, and the food? How do you make that integral to their stories? Food is the heart, Janelle said, passion lighting her features. Every recipe has its roots. When kids cook dishes from their cultures, they're sharing their heritage, their families. That's where the magic happens. They'll create meals, and through them, they'll bond over shared experiences. As she spoke, Janelle's heart swelled with the strength of her own vision. This was about so much more than just cooking. This was about reclaiming identities, transforming paths, and kindling hope in the hearts of those who had often been overlooked. But as the investors nodded and murmured their approval, a dark shadow fluttered in her mind. Mark's voice invaded her thoughts again, reminding her of the urgent call. It felt like a warning bell in her head, shifting her focus back to the present. "I just want to be clear," Janelle continued, forcing a calmness into her words. "This isn't a project for profit margins. It's an investment in potential. I believe in the transformation of lives, not just the food business." A moment of silence followed as the investors exchanged glances, the gravity of her words settling in. The older man finally spoke, his tone respectful but firm. "Investing in potential is risky, Janelle. You know that as well as we do. What guarantees do we have that this will work?" An uneasy stillness filled the air. Janelle's heart raced. She had to dig deep. "What guarantees do we have in life?" she countered, her voice steady. "This is about taking a leap of faith, a chance for these kids to change their story. If we don't believe in them, who will?" The tension hung like a thick fog, but it felt charged with possibility. Slowly, Janelle saw the earliest flickers of realization in their eyes. They weren't just looking at numbers anymore, they were beginning to see the faces behind the statistics. "Yes." Quincy jumped in, his excitement breaking the intensity. "This isn't just a cooking class, it's a movement. We can uplift this community, spark a change." She caught Quincy's eye, grateful and encouraged. Maybe they could transform this vision into reality together. And just when she was about to steer the conversation back to solid ground, her phone buzzed again. Ignoring it would feel wrong. Janelle slipped away, her heart racing once more. She glanced at the screen, half hoping it would be anything but Mark. The dread tightened her chest as she read a new message. "Janelle, it's urgent. We need to rethink everything. I found something out about our funding. It's not what we thought." Just as she was about to respond, she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Quincy. "You okay? You seem shaken." Looking into his supportive gaze grounded her, and she steadied her breath. "Yeah, I will be. I just need to know we're on the right path before anything shifts." "What's coming at us next?" Quincy nodded, determination flaring in his eyes. "Let us finish this. You've got something powerful here." As she stepped back into the room, her resolve strengthened. But how could they prepare for the unknown while harnessing this moment? The stakes were rising, and the weight of the future pressed heavily on her heart. "Let us bring it home," Janelle said, her voice ringing with a mix of hope and determination. "Together, we'll ensure this is just the beginning." As the conversation resumed, she couldn't shake the feeling that the next wave was about to crash in. Would their hard-won vision withstand the impending storm? The clock was ticking, and so much was hanging in the balance. Janelle took a moment to center herself as she returned to the table. The weight of her vision felt heavier now, bolstered by the urgent message lingering in her mind. She locked eyes with the investors, and a flicker of determination surged within her. These people could change everything. "So," Janelle continued, her voice steady. "Let us discuss how we will measure success beyond just funding. This isn't about numbers but about lives changed. Imagine a graduation day for these kids, where they not only showcase their culinary skills but tell their stories, celebrate their heritage. That's a metric of success." The sharp-featured woman seemed to contemplate this, a spark of intrigue lighting up her expression. "And what kind of stories are we talking about?" Before Janelle could answer, the younger investor leaned forward, enthusiasm back on his face. "I think it's fascinating. Kids from different backgrounds, all coming together. It's rich with potential." "Yes," Janelle responded, seizing the moment. "It can be about a young girl from Mexico who makes tamales, telling us about her grandmother's recipes. Or a boy from Ethiopia sharing injera, linking us to his family's traditions. They'll not only learn to cook but also build a supportive community. As her words flowed, she was aware of the stirring emotions pulled from those around the table. She could see a heaviness lift slightly, a glimmer of belief forming where hesitation had once loomed. But just as she felt confident, her phone buzzed again. She shot a glance at it, dread pooling in her stomach like a stone. "Everything okay?" Quincy asked, his brow furrowing with concern. Kind of," Janelle replied, trying to mask her turmoil. Nothing felt certain she couldn't let this distract her. "Let us focus on how we can leave an imprint on these kids' lives, not just today but for years to come." With renewed energy, she laid out her vision for community outreach. Hosting monthly potlucks where families could gather, share food, and tell their stories. Bringing local chefs to mentor the kids, ensuring their experience went beyond the kitchen. Each layer she added felt like another brick laid in a strong foundation. The older investor's demeanor shifted slightly, interest peaked. "It sounds like a plan. The kids actually being part of this is key. What about their parents?" Janelle's heart lifted. "Yes. Engaging the families is crucial. We can create workshops where parents can learn, too, maybe even classes on budgeting, healthy eating, or starting their own small businesses. This isn't just a youth initiative, it's a community revival." For a moment, silence enveloped the table, then resounded with murmurs of agreement. Janelle felt encouragement swell within her. But just as it was about to crest into victory, her phone buzzed a third time. Her stomach twisted into knots again. "Is it Mark again?" Quincy asked, his brow furrowing deeper. "I don't know," she admitted, glancing at the screen. "But I can't ignore it. Go." "I'll keep them engaged," he urged, giving her a gentle push. She could see the reassurance shining in his eyes, grounding her once again. Janelle stepped away, glancing at the message, her breath catching. "We need to meet. There's more information that changes everything." Her heart raced. What more was there? She took a deep breath before returning to the table, her resolve struggling against the chaotic storm brewing inside her. When she faced them again, uncertainty flickered in her eyes. "Okay, I'm back. I need to be upfront," she began, the weight of what she needed to say pressing down on her. "There's new information about our funding that we need to navigate carefully." As her words spilled out, Janelle felt the energy in the room shift. Was this the beginning of the end, or just another chance to dig deeper? Hope and fear intertwined as she sensed the investors losing their initial excitement. Could she reignite their passion? Could they navigate the potential fallout together? Just how much was about to unravel and what wisdom awaited hidden within these challenges? Janelle's heart raced as she searched for the right words. The air in the room was thick, heavy with anticipation. She could almost feel the weight of each investor's gaze resting on her, their earlier enthusiasm now tangled in uncertainty. "There's a potential funding gap," she started, the phrase hanging in the air like a storm cloud. "But I believe we can work together to address this." The sharp-featured woman furrowed her brow, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. "What do you mean by potential? Is this something we should be seriously worried about?" Janelle took a deep breath. "Mark, he said that due diligence might require more time, possibly affecting our initial timeline. We need to regroup and reassure our partners." Gasps of surprise erupted around the table. Quincy stepped in, trying to mollify the rising tension. "Let us not lose momentum here. We've got a vision that can really uplift this community. We can figure out the funding situation." But Janelle could see the skepticism creeping back into their expressions. "I know it's tough news," she said, holding her own gaze steady, "but I also see this as a way for us to strengthen our resolve. Let's turn this challenge into an opportunity. We just need to think creatively." "Like what?" the younger investor asked, his brow drawn tight in concern. "What can we possibly do?" A spark ignited in Janelle's mind. What if we create a platform, an event that showcases not only the culinary excellence of the kids but uplifts the families as well? It can be a community festival, complete with food stalls, storytelling events, and workshops where families share their skills. She paused for a moment, feeling the energy shift as hope permeated the air. We could even involve local businesses to sponsor the event. They get publicity, and we raise funds. It's a win-win. The sharp-featured woman nodded slowly, the beginnings of a smile creeping into her expression. I like the sound of that. It could really engage the community. Yes, exactly. Janelle exclaimed, excitement bubbling within her. She felt the warmth of connection rekindling around the table, and each investor's eyes brightened at her vision of possibility. But what about the funding? The older man interjected, his skepticism still present. We can't forget that looming cloud. True, Janelle conceded, feeling her own pulse quicken at his reminder. But if we bring this festival to life, it opens the door for conversations. Investors love tangible results. We show them kids thriving, and we paint a picture of what real change looks like. Tension still lingered, but it danced on the edges of curiosity and excitement, the kind of energy that coaxed reluctant hearts back. Suddenly, there was a shuffling at the door. Everyone turned to see a young kitchen helper, Ahmed, standing there hesitantly, eyes wide. His presence startled Janelle momentarily. Sorry to interrupt, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. But I heard what you were discussing. May I share something? Janelle felt a rush of both concern and intrigue. Of course, Ahmed. Please, come in. He stepped inside, his youthfulness contrasting the depth of the moment. I grew up in this neighborhood, he started, looking at everyone with a sincerity that commanded attention. When my family moved here, we didn't have much. We just brought our recipes and traditions. That's what kept us together. As he spoke, Janelle felt the air thicken with the weight of his story, emotional resonance filling the room. The investors leaned forward, captivated by his earnestness. What if, instead of just celebrating food, we made it about stories? Every dish tells where we come from, our struggles and successes. If we highlight this, it could resonate so much deeper. His words hung in the air, a revelation echoing with significance. Janelle's heart surged. This was exactly the connection they needed. You're right, she whispered, an ember of hope igniting. Stories can bridge gaps, they make what we're doing tangible. But, Ahmed said, a frown flickering on his brow, you need to make it real. Let's not just talk. Let's involve us. If I learn while helping out, others can too. Make everyone part of this journey, not just spectators. Janelle felt a flood of warmth, a light breaking through the uncertainty. She glanced at the investors, who were now visibly moved. Could this be a turning point? Could his words breathe life back into their dreams? As the room buzzed with growing ideas, a new line of energy surged through everyone. Janelle's mind raced with excitement and fear. How far could they take this? Just then, her phone buzzed again. She hesitated. Each buzz seemed to hold a pivotal answer or perhaps another concern just waiting to unravel. Are you okay? Quincy asked, concern flooding back into his voice. She looked back at Ahmed, his hopeful eyes mirroring her own uncertainty. I'm not sure yet, she replied, glancing down at the screen, her heart pounding. Just how much was hanging in the balance, and how far would she need to fight to make their shared vision a reality? Janelle took a moment to absorb Ahmed's heartfelt words. The kitchen had become a symphony of voices, each playing a vital role in their shared mission. The investors, too, seemed united by a growing sense of purpose. Stories are powerful, she nodded, feeding off Ahmed's energy. We need them to inspire our community, to show others what's possible. This event could serve as a platform for everyone to express themselves through cooking, storytelling, and support. The room hummed with contemplative murmurs. The investors were visibly engaged, their skepticism melting away as enthusiasm bubbled to the surface. "We should structure this festival around food as a means for storytelling," the sharp-featured woman said, her tone more animated than earlier. "We can integrate workshops that allow kids to present their dishes, sharing their traditions and narratives around them." Janelle felt like a flame reigniting. "Exactly. And we can also set up mentored sessions, where local chefs help to guide these kids, integrating culinary skills with personal stories into their presentations." A young investor with tousled hair leaned in. "We could even include a documentary component. Capture their journeys, showcasing how these kids evolve throughout the program, and use that footage to attract more funding." Her heart raced with anticipation, fueled by the rising excitement in the room. They were on a roll, moving away from uncertainty into a realm of possibilities. As the idea of the festival spiraled out in vibrant detail, she stole another glance at her phone. It buzzed with more urgency now, and she could no longer ignore it. Stepping away, her heart thumped heavily. She needed to keep her focus. A pivotal moment in their future waited just beyond the glass. With a steadying breath, she answered Mark's call tentatively. "Did something else happen?" "Janelle, it's critical. I need you to listen. We've got investors panicking. They want immediate reassurances. Can you present the festival concept today? I know it's fast, but if we don't act now, we could lose everything." A rush of fear swept through her, but it was quickly followed by an exhilarating electricity. Janelle's voice came out strong. "Yes. We're already working on it. I'll gather everyone. We'll make it happen." "Great. I'll be back as soon as I can," he responded, stress evident in his tone. With that, Janelle returned to the table, urgency and determination coursing through her. "We need to act. Now. We present the festival concept today. I just spoke with Mark, and we have to reassure our investors." The team rallied behind her, energy pulsating through the kitchen. "Let's turn this doubt into action," Janelle declared, already mapping the rhythm of the festival in her mind. "We've got the vision, the passion, and the talent. Let's make it real for them to see." Through the hours that followed, they worked tirelessly, weaving their ideas into a clear presentation. Ahmed joined in, echoing his thoughts with enthusiasm, cleverly emphasizing the storytelling components and the impact they could have. As laughter filled the once pressure-filled space, Janelle felt the shift within her. She was not just a kitchen helper anymore, she was a leader, a beacon, igniting hope, courage, and passion in her community. Finally, the moment arrived. They stood before the investors, gathered around the glossy boardroom table that had once felt so intimidating, now transformed into a vessel of opportunity. Janelle took a deep breath as she began to present, her heart thundering in her chest. "Thank you for having us here today. We're excited to share a vision that's more than just a culinary project. It's a community revival." She began, her voice steady and filled with a newfound passion. As she spoke, the energy in the room shifted once more. The investors leaned in, captivated by the heart at the center of Janelle's message. Ahmed's contributions added depth, their collective dreams flourished, intertwining like fresh herbs in a vibrant salad. By the time she concluded, the air was thick with positive energy. Anticipation rippling like the surface of a calm lake. They couldn't hide the smiles drifting across the investors' faces. "You're right," the sharp-featured woman exclaimed. "There's potential here. This is what we need to promote, not just food, but the stories behind it." If the world outside felt uncertain, in this room, hope sparked anew, illuminating the paths of everyone present. With shaking hands, Janelle accepted the investors' praise, their faith becoming a comforting blanket around her. In that moment, surrounded by the support of her peers, she recognized the journey they were embarking on together. It was just as much about transforming lives as it was about good food. As the evening deepened, marking the conclusion of the presentation, Janelle stepped aside, her heart swelling with gratitude and belief. It wasn't just the idea of the festival that had ignited hope. It was the realization of connection human to human, story to story. Tomorrow, she knew, would bring new challenges. But today, they had built something monumental, a testament to resilience, community, and the power of a shared dream. It was, indeed, the beginning of a beautiful transformation. Now it's your turn to take that leap. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss out on more transformative stories like this one. Leave a like immediately to feed the algorithm and help us reach those who need to hear this message. And most importantly, comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this sense of hope and change. Don't wait not even one more second. Be part of this community and help us spread the inspiration.